Okay, Shalom, Shalom. Gonna give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Moha, Rakak Wadash, and what's it, Bashem? Why do I keep saying that? Bashem Moha, Rakak Wadash, Bashem Ha, Rakak Wadash. Alright, not Bashem Moha, Rakak Wadash. That means in the name and the no. That doesn't make any sense. So it's lucky for that. It's a bad habit. So. Kolam Layel Bashem Yahushai Bashem Harakakodash. There you go. Alright. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone GMS who do rule and teach well. Right. Young brother here, Shamash 1 Ban Yahweh. And we're just gonna do a full-on breakdown of Isaiah, the second chapter. And I'll bring out scriptures as needed. This one is I think it's around about the same length as the other one, but I don't think this one is going to take us as long. This is not really talking about history. This is 100% future prophecy. This isn't talking about history at all, really. It's all 100% future prophecy. So within this chapter, we're just going to get a lot of destruction scriptures. We'll go through Revelations. We'll go place to place, maybe hit Amos, the 5th chapter. Things like that, because it talks about the day of the Lord and things like that. So we'll jump around. Precept upon precept, line upon line, and things like that. Which that scripture, let me slow down, which that scripture has another meaning to. If you look at an NLT, that's what people from the outside looking in think that what we're talking about is just line upon line, line upon line, order on order. Because what a precept is, it's an order, orders, it's another way of saying it, but precepts are also, scriptures, but the scriptures are really, when you think about it, it's all in order. It's ordering you to live a certain life, and the way people look at it is like, oh, I gotta do this, and I gotta do that, and I gotta do this, and I gotta do that, and that's actually, the people, they don't like it, but we know that falsely great dignity in the society, look at rulership, Job 9:24, all that, right. You guys know these. You guys should know these, right? And you can just look at your society and see that for yourself. The people don't want to live in structure, They just want to do as they will, because their leaders are pushing the Aleister Crowley vibration. So without further ado, let's just get into this lesson today. I was going to talk about something else, but I'll make a video for that separately. Because if I go on like this, it'll be like 5 minutes and we wouldn't even gone to the chapter yet. So let's get into it, because that's what you're here for, right? You're here to learn about Isaiah, the second chapter. Right? Maybe you want a refresher, or so on and so forth. So the word that Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. Right now, I talked about Isaiah before. He's not the son of the prophet Amos. He's a son of this man named Amos. They do say that he's the son of, let's see here. Yeah. Rabbinic tradition has that Isaiah's father Amos, not Amos the prophet, was a brother of the king Amaziah. This would make Isaiah the first cousin to King Uzziah and grandson of King Joash, and thus of royal blood, a man of the palace. Now, we don't know. I don't know where that rabbinic tradition comes from. I didn't really check it out like that. So if it goes back far enough, it might just be legit. But I don't know. But he's pretty much around before, well, really, Isaiah takes place. They say Isaiah, the first chapter. We went into this. I just want to be accurate, 100% accurate. Yeah, so it takes place after the fall of the northern kingdom, and then the Syrians have pretty much, been through city of Judah and jacking it all up, so on and so forth. And you get the whole Sennacherib thing, right? The angels, save us, things like that. It shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains. It shall be exalted above all the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. Right. So the mountains are governments. Okay. So the mountain represents, doesn't mean like a literal mountain, it just represents a government, I'm actually curious what it says for mountain here. So they actually have that there. Har, alright, local hill country. mountain, hill. All right, well, we know about the whole example about they have summits and things like that. Land of Moriah, Jeremiah 17:3. Compare mountain, majestic mountain, elsewhere in Horeb, Mandam, assembly, dwelling place of gods. Give commands, mountain range. All right, well, never mind. But represents a government, and we can just look up mountain, because a lot of this, just look up something. Once again, that one, this is going to the kingdom. I did a lesson on that one already. Mountain. The mountain. Yeah, this is a good one. Right, this is they shall not heart, destroy, suckling. What is going on? What is this visual glitch? Okay, it's all good. Something happened, I guess, or something was blocking whatever. I don't know, programming has it all rendered or whatever. I don't know what happened there. Yeah, it's a little glitch. Right, so this is all taking place in the kingdom, right? Talk about, we saw here, Isaiah 11:6, the wolf also should dwell with the lamb, and the leopard should lie down with the kid. And a calf and a young lion and a fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. So all the animals are going to be vegan. They're not going to be killing each other no more. The child's going to be able to play with the animals. So things are going to go back to Garden of Eden times where animals fear us and they're not going to mess with us in that day. And this day is talking about in the kingdom. And the cow and the bear shall feed. The young one shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. See my point? So animals aren't going to be killing each other no more. It shows you how far the world has fallen out of order. And the suckling child shall play on the hole of the ass, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice's den, right? Yes, the little child put its hand in the nest of deadly snakes without harm. And this is all literal. They should not hurt nor destroy my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of knowledge of the Lord as the water covers the sea. So there you go. In that day, right? And then, we know. Rest of this is going into, Yahushai, which you can go into that for yourself. 11 and 10. Right. Verse 11, and many people shall say, go, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Right, so pretty much this is going to be the capital of the world. People will come to us. These other nations will come, to learn from us and follow our ways. Let's see here. Come not to Passover. Let's see here. Come not to Passover. I think I might know where it is. What's 11? So this lay down. Any pieces, holds the Lord, shepherd, holds the idol. Let's see if we can find this here. Days of Uzziah. Yes, this is the book of Zechariah, chapter 14 and 16. It should come to pass that everyone that is left of the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. If it be whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain, this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite the heathen that come not up to the Feast of Tabernacles. This shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. So if they don't come by, right, because we're going to have all these nations, in subjection, after that 1,000-year period, they're still always going to be in subjection under us, and they'll have to go and keep all this stuff. But first, they got to build up our nation first, and we gonna put hell on them. We're not gonna give them no construction equipment. There's not gonna be no crane and no, whatever construction equipment. These things, the thing with the shovel and whatever. They're not gonna have no construction equipment. We're not gonna give them no edge. They gonna probably have like a ladder or something, or something. They're gonna have to use their own man muscle. They're gonna have to build that stuff brick by brick, and we're gonna work them hard day and night and get their ass beat, jacked up. They're gonna get messed up, which it's Isaiah 14:2, and many others. I think Revelation 2 talks about shall bash them in the head with the rod of iron. So you can go into that. This should be the punishment of Egypt, and then the punishment of all nations that come out of to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Should be no more Canaanite in the Lord of the hosts. That's pretty much that. I thought it was Zechariah 14. I gotta get into that book. I read like the first chapter, but then I got detracted going into other stuff, and I'll get into it. I'll get into it in time. And finish the whole book. Let's see here. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many peoples, and they shall beat their peers and their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Right? So Yahweh, and Yahushai, they're gonna judge among these nations. The Lord is gonna order Yahushai, and he's gonna carry that order, and we're gonna, do everything in order. These nations are gonna get put in order. They're gonna come to us. If they have any issue between each other, we're gonna mediate between them. And settle international disputes this year in NLT, and we'll destroy. If they have anything, we'll destroy it. And these nations are not. If they have any weapons, we'll destroy it, because that's Ezekiel 39. So all the nuclear silos, all their hidden caches of nuclear weapons, ballistic weapons, we'll destroy it. And if you read Ezekiel 39, that's a spiritual power scripture. It talks about how we should destroy their stockpiles of weapons without using an axe, or anything, because we'll have the spiritual power, be able to pull fire out of hands, make fire come out of our hands, like lasers and laser beams and stuff come out of our eyes. So the things that talk about that, the horns. I heard there's scriptures that go into that. I can't think of it right now, but there's one that goes into basically eye beams and stuff like that. I said before, I'm no elder, man. I'm no elder, so I mentioned these things, but you gotta look it up. O house of Jacob, come ye, let us walk in the light of the Lord. Right? Therefore, thou hast forsaken thy people, thou house of Jacob, because they replenished from the east, and the soothsayers, and our soothsayers with the Philistines, and they pleased themselves in the children of strangers. Right? Romans, the first chapter. Right? This is a cursive scripture. This is why we are the way we are, why people are in this low position. Right? Because we are replenished from the east, with practices from the east, and with sorcerers, as the Philistines do. Right? Same thing back then. The same thing now. We're the same. We're going through the same stuff. Because our people are involved with all these witchcraft stuff, Ouija boards, and even stuff like voodoo. I'm certain voodoo has Eastern influences, going back to like Babylon and all that region and stuff like that. Probably goes back to some of the Canaan stuff that's eastward. That's all that stuff is east, in the eastern region. Which even Africa is really east. It's like the whole eastern hemisphere and all that. So our people involved with all that garbage. They're involved with the children of strangers. They have made alliances with pagans. Yep, our people have done that. Our leaders, our pastors, they're all sellouts. They take photos with politicians. If you're really about your people, you shouldn't be taking no photos with no goddamn politicians, as if the politicians care about us. You shouldn't even take a photo with a Jake politician, man. Hell with them. Their land also is full of silver and gold, neither is any end to the treasures. The land is also full of horses, neither is there any end to the chariots. The land also is full of idols. They worship the works of their own hand, which their own fingers have made. Right? So that's what it is. That's what our people were doing. Back then. Nowadays we don't really have no wealth like that. We don't have our own land, but our land is still our people. Our people forge a place and things like that. Same thing for today. Our people are just involved in all kinds of idolatry. The Christian worship, the Catholic worship. All this stuff. These people worshiping the pastor like he's the Most High. And they don't even check out the scriptures for themselves. Are thy gods? Let me see if I can find this. As numerous as thy cities are thy gods. It's in Jeremiah. Yeah, so this is Jeremiah 2:28. This is Jeremiah 2:26. The thief is ashamed when he is found, so is the house of Israel ashamed. They, their kings, their princes, and their priests and their prophets, right? Because all the priests were, we read that in Isaiah the first chapter, they were companions of thieves. They were wicked, they were evil, they're doing all kinds of crimes. They were murderers. Read up about Ahab and all that. They were all wicked. Northern Kingdom kings were wicked. They were involved in all kinds of idolatry. They were fucking assassinations and shit. Like it was wild, man. Like when you read like Kings and Chronicles and stuff like that, and like all that, it's just like it's almost like you're reading like watching like Games of Thrones or something. Which I had never watched Game of Thrones, but you get what I'm trying to say. It's gory, it's messy. Like you say, like every other chapter, this guy he became king, and now he's dead. This guy, and then nope, now he's dead. Now you get another guy, nope, he's dead too. You get this guy, he was wicked, he died in battle. Which I think that was Jehoshaphat, the Northern Kingdom king that was known Jehoshaphat. I think he got slain in battle or something like that. But the scriptures are brutal. It's brutal time. Saying to a stock, thou art my father, and to a stone that has brought me forth. Oh yeah, I forgot about this one. Yep. Saying to a stock, to a piece of wood, all that Catholic garbage. And then to a stone that has brought me forth, like the old Kaaba stone and all that. For they have turned their back to me, worshiping stones and wood, and not their face, but in their time of trouble, they will say, arise and save us, right? And that's what's going to happen. Jake's going to be begging for salvation, but, you're not going to get it, because when we were out there on the streets, the Lord called out to you through using us, the prophets, and you guys laughed at us, take videos of us. You say, look at this nigga, look at this nigga, and meanwhile, like, you can't even see the truth, you can't see just how absolutely fucked you are, because you could poke fun at me, but at least I have values, at least I have morals, at least I have understanding, at least I fucking try, and all us brothers in this truth, we try, We do try. We keep the laws to the best of our ability. We keep our lives in order. We eat clean. All of that, man. We're well-rounded individuals. But then you dickheads, you people out here in the street, just come over here. You laugh at us, man. That's why you're children of disobedience. And as it talks about in Ephesians 5:3, the wrath of God, wrath of the Most High, comes upon the children of disobedience. That's why you 2/3 gotta go. Sick and tired of you niggas, man. Alright? Jeremiah 2:28. Beware thy gods that thou hast made thee. Let them arise, they can save thee in a time of trouble. For according to the number of thy cities are thy gods, O Judah. Right? So, why not call them these gods which you have made? When trouble comes, let them save you if they can. For you have as many gods as there are towns in Judah. Right? Which, all this stuff happened back then and things like that. But it's the same spirit our people are in right now. all the gods, all the different nonsense. It's like there's so many different like doctrines that Jake is involved in and things like that. And it's just crazy. It's the same spirit. It's the same spirit, man. You know, oh man, I'm 5%er. Oh man, I'm in Islam. Oh, I'm in this school of Islam, bro. Ah man, I'm into Buddhism, bro. Yo man, I'm into Japanese Shintoism, bro. Yo. You know, and Hispanics are the same way. Northern Kingdom are the same way. Into Catholicism, into this plantation Christianity. You know, Native Americans, man, Gad, Reuben, y'all into some goofy ass shit too. You know, you 2/3 out there, like Gadites and Reubenites and all that. They're all into some goofy shit too, about a fucking flying bird or some shit, worshiping the ostrich or whatever the hell you guys worship. But I don't even get it. You know, I believe that some bird mother is the mother of the world or some nonsense. Like, come on, man, come on. You know, it's ridiculous. Okay. So we can go back here. Isaiah 2:9, and the mean man boweth down, and the great man humbleth himself. Therefore forgive them not. Right? So that's right. You know, that's gonna happen. See, he humbles himself. Become low. You know, they're gonna be made low. Right? The great man is Ayash, but it seems like mean man. I don't know why I say Adawam. This really should be Ayash, because Adam goes back to Adawam, and I believe a brother went into this, that they mess with it. Man shouldn't be Adam, you know. I think they play around with Esau too and try to say it's Adam or something, but it's really Adawam. I thought they played with something like that, but with Edom, they play with Edom. I'm certain they play with it, and they try to tie in Edom with Adam. When Adam and Adawam, it goes into the ground. That's all it means. Adama, you know, Adama. It's all about the earth. That has nothing to do with man. Man has its own separate word, which is Ayash. You know, so this is all talking about mankind. You know, so being humbled doesn't mean they're going to be in the right spirit. It means they're going to be brought low, made low. You know, what happened to our people, of course, with, you know, Babylon and things like that. But what's going to happen to these times now? You know, it's really talking about these times now, because you read here, you know, which I guess you could say part of it, you know, is stuff that you could say they were in the same spirit back then, you know, history. But it's what we're talking about right now, right? Enter to the rock and hide thee in the dust for fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty. The lofty looks of the man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day, right? And as I said before, this is really talking about when World War III happens. You know, they're going to be hiding and trying to crawl, you know, into those bunkers and things like that. But, you know, they're going to be destroyed. If they crawl in a bunker here in America, if you get fooled into, you know, going to a bunker here in America, your death will be here. You know, you will be dead here. You won't live. All right, you signed your own death warrant. So, verse 12, day of reckoning coming, and don't say, oh man, this is all talk about Babylon, man. You're wrong, buddy. All right, I read Halley's Bible Handbook, and even they admit that this chapter right here is talking about future events. All right, so don't give me that baloney. All right, and I forgot to mention this in Isaiah, the second chapter, the first couple verses. You know, that stuff right there, you use that to prove that the real people aren't in that land. Because if the real people were in that land, then there wouldn't be no wars. There wouldn't be no fighting. If prophecy and everything came to pass, the light descended from the chariots, you know, New Jerusalem, I think that's Revelation 21, you know, descended from the heavens. If that was the case, you know, then there wouldn't be no war in that land. And does Israel look like an international court for, you know, settling disputes? Does it look like that right now? Of course not. All right, it's silly. You know, even the Amalekites that were out there, the first prime minister Ben Gurion was an atheist. You know, and a lot of them actually hate religiousness. They hate you know, holiness. They don't mess with that stuff. You know, there's plenty of atheists, and people are just like, I don't believe in this bullshit. You know, that's just the way they are. They don't care. You know, and that's an Esau thing. Esau is big into atheism, man. A lot of them are like that. I don't believe in that. No, that's nonsense. I believe that humankind was evolved from monkeys 3.5 billion years ago. It's like come on, man. It's silly. It's silly, you know? Silly nonsense. It sounds like some shit out of fucking Riddick or something, man. You know? For the day of the Lord of hosts shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty, and upon everyone that is lifted up, and he shall be brought low, right? And upon all the cedars of Lebanon that are high and lift up, upon all the oaks of Bashan, right? And the trees are talking about peoples, you know? You gotta go into, let's see here. Yeah, let's see. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 2. Let me see here. Let me see if I can find this. Okay, so I found it. It's Genesis 3 and 8. And he heard the voice of the Lord walking in the garden in the cool of the day, right? And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord amongst the trees of the garden, right? So they saw this prophet around, which, you know, if you go into the word cool, it goes to Rawak. No, it's really Rakah. Yeah, it's not Ruach. It's Rakah, spirit. It's a prophetic spirit, you know, because why would it be a spirit of the day, you know? It's a prophetic spirit walking in the garden in the spirit, you know, and this is a prophet, you know, because the prophets are the words. The prophets speak the word of the Lord. If you want to say it like this, you know, the prophets are like a conduit or some sort of, you know, something like that. It's they go out there and they preach the word of the Lord. All right, so we don't over explain stuff, right? So, and Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord in the trees, amongst the trees of the garden, right? So they hid themselves amongst the heathen, which are the trees of the garden, and that proves it. What we just read in Isaiah, you know, the trees of the garden, nations today, those who are not elect, right? So they were acting like the other nations of the garden, you know, all those are the different nations that were around back then, you know, which I believe they say this stuff in Antarctica that's apparently from before the flood, but you know, what do you got here? Oh yeah, you looked up and said, I see men as trees walking. Lord heal them all his blindness, and no, it's not really. I don't know why I put that there. I guess you could technically apply it to, but Isaiah 5 and 3, say it for me. Oh, I get it. I get it why I brought those out. Nope. It's 31. Yeah, so this is we'll go in here. Ezekiel 31:4. The walls made him great, the deep sit on him with the rivers running about his plants, and set her out little rivers to all the trees of the field. Therefore his height was exalted above all the trees of the field, which is all talking about Adam. And his boughs were multiplied, and his branches became long because of the multitude of waters which he shot forth. Right, it's just talking about Adam here, right? And these all the other nations of the trees of the field, boughs were multiplied, be fruitful and multiply, right? As it's talked about in Genesis 1, right? Which he shot forth, right? And the branches of the family line, because you know the Adamites created great people, you know, they multiplied. There's people around there. Look at like Genesis, the 5th chapter. You know, male and female made he them. Well, we said made he him, but it's really made he them because you know it's the angels. Just look at the word for God in Genesis chapter 1, and you get the understanding. You should watch the one that Elder Apostle Har made. The video. And all the fowls of heaven made a nest in his boughs, and on his branches did all the beasts of the field bring forth the young, and under his shadow dwell all great nations. Exactly, because all the nations were under us back then. You know, Genesis, the first chapter, told us that we were to keep the garden and to keep order, basically. You know, to have the order, hold order, keep the world in order. You know, the land in order. Because back then it was the Pangea. The whole world was one thing, and we kept everyone and everything in an order until through Eve, Adam went off, and then we all went off, and that was the end of that. Thus was he fair in his greatness, and the length of his branches for his root was by great waters. Right, the great waters represents the Most High. Khan. And we can. We'll go into this. The cedars in the garden of God could not hide him. The fair trees were not like his boughs, and the chestnut trees were not like his branches, nor any tree in the garden of God, or the garden of God, garden of the Most High, the world, and all that. But we know that eastward Eden is really talk about the land of Israel, right? It was like unto him in his beauty, right? So the gardens in the gardens of God could not hide him, so he couldn't hide himself among these other nations, right? The fir trees were not like his boughs. The heathen nations are not like Israel, referring to the garden eastward Eden. No one was there because it was closed, right? Because that's what happened later on after we went off and things like that. That region, Israel, was closed off from us, and then the flood takes place. Then Canaan moves in there, and he's doing his bullshit, his human sacrifice and all his nonsense. And then we go in there, we kick his ass, and then history plays out, and then in time, I'm skipping forth in history. The Ottomans get a hold of it. World War I happens. God damn it. Okay, there we are. Yeah, World War I happens. The Ottomans lose that land. It goes into Britain. Britain calls out Amalekites from around the world to go move into that land. They get the first Aliyah. Boom. They start, buying territory off from, these Philistines and all that. They start getting more and more territory. You get the first Arab-Israeli war, right? Israel is counted as a nation. Of course, Palestine isn't, and they are given a shitty deal. They gave Israel 56% of the land, and the Palestinians only 44%. And then ever since then, there's been war after war after war. With every war, of course, they lost more and more land, and as they lost more and more land, they pretty much became what they are today. And that's what's the current state of that land, and it's just waiting for us to go take it. Like I just mentioned, Revelation, I think it was 21. All right, so Salakia, I know this is a lot if you're like a younger brother and things like that, but just try to keep up and things like that, and look up things for yourself, and do your GMS homework. And if you keep doing your GMS homework and things like that, and keep watching breakdowns, it'll all make sense. If there's any young brothers out there watching this, I don't know, watch these videos, man. I don't know, right? So, and upon all the high mountains, and upon all the hills that are lifted up, so all these nations, and upon every high tower, and upon every fenced wall, and upon all the ships of Tarshish, and upon all the pleasant pictures, right? So these nations will be brought low, right? So all these nations will be brought low. The ships of Tarshish, which was Spain, all those nations, everyone, it's Spain. We know that NATO and EU are going to get jacked up in World War III and all that. We know that. And because you read Revelation 11, was the 11th or the 18th chapter, I can't remember where, but at least 10 horns shall eat the horn, shall burn with fire. Right, these nations are going to turn on America, but America's going to probably turn back and nuke them too. But it's just going to be wild, man. These nations are going to blow up America, then they're going to pull up EU nations, and then some EU nations, it's going to be wild. It'll be wild. I don't want to speak presumptuously, but of course America is going to nuke them back, so they're just going to be nuking each other, and it's just going to be all kinds of chaos, man. And chariots are going to be out there, and all across England, all across Holland, the Netherlands, man, wrecking havoc. It's gonna be wild, man. It's gonna be nukes everywhere. Everywhere's getting nuked, but not every single nation is gonna be nuked to the same level, because there's other scriptures that talk about that, how we have to bring the heathen shall bring the children of Israel to the Lord. This is a thing, I can't remember where it is, but you can find that one. But there's other scripture that goes like, them who will not worship me, them shall ye slay before me. That's talking about like Jake's studies of the nations that I want to get right we'll kill them before the Lord. Also, you can apply to the other nations too. You don't want to get right and you're gonna get slain. That's what Yahushua said. And loftiness of men shall be bowed down, highness of men shall be made low, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day, and the idols shall he utterly abolish. Right? So utterly disappear, things like that. Halap, right? Pass on, pass away, go through, pass on quickly. To say abolish, so you make something go away. But we know the abolishment of slavery was a bunch of bullshit, because that stuff just continued on with the convict leasing. They would get jakes for petty crimes. If a jake was around too late in these sundown towns, they grab them up, and then they'll put them in, force them to work on mines, or they'll force them to work a field and things like that, and they'll fuck them up, to pay off his fine. And then they'll make very little money to pay off the fine, so they'll just be stuck there, working until they die. They should go into the rocks of the caves, into the earth, for the fear of the Lord, and for the glorious majesty when he rises to shake terribly the earth. Right. Let's go into this one. This is the book of. We'll go to the point here because I've been going into this for some time. I don't want to make this too long. I don't want to go into it for an hour here. Woe unto you, as Amos 5:9. What am I saying? Amos 5:18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. Right? So here we go. And as if a man did flee from a lion, and a bear met him, or went to his house and leaned his hand on the wall, and a serpent bit him. That's just going to be, in that day, it's just be death on every turn. Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light, even very dark and no brightness in it? And I hate and I despise your feast days, and I not smell in your solemn assemblies. Right? So, as I said before, that stuff goes into stuff back then. Jake wasn't right. They were hypocrites. But, applies to our time now. It really applies to our time now, because that's what's going to happen when the day of the Lord happens, when the Lord, Yahweh shall return. Right? So the next thing I need to get, I'm just going to, go through, basics here. Basics. This is the book of Amos chapter 9, and so I'll stand altar. I'll go to the point here. Amos 9:2. Though they dig into hell, then shall my hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, then shall I bring them down. So though they climb into the ground, down to the place of the dead, which is the earth. Right? That's where you bury the dead, in the earth. Right? You don't bury the dead. I don't know. There's nothing really to say about that. You bury the dead in the earth. Right? Though they climb up to heaven, which means the sky. Above the. Yeah, I guess you say kind of above the firmament, or really kind of like around the firmament, which is the ozone layer and whatever. Actually, no, above it. Never mind. Let me not be silly. But they go into space. It's talking about space stations. It's talking about space stations because they go really high up and they go into space, and they sit there in their little space stations and whatever. You got all the satellites, and that's how you get the internet. You use the satellites and all that stuff. And though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, right? Though they hide in those military bunkers, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, so that they hide in the bottom of the ocean, then so I command the serpent, and he will bite them. He shall bite them. That's talking about Leviathan. What's going to kill him there? Yeah. That's pretty much the point on that one. This is the book of Revelations, chapter 9. It's gonna be like the last one, and that's that. Give me a sec. Alright, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 6 and 14. Heaven departed as a scroll when it's rolled together, and every island and mountain will move out of their places, right? Literally, because it's going to be a great shaking. When those missiles hit, this is the amount of death and explosions. Because remember, ICBMs and all these nuclear missiles, they have, megatons and like some like 12, I think some of them like 20. I don't know what the average is, but I think the highest is like 20 or 30 or something like that. But that's crazy amount of damage, and it will shake, like even like a little level, right? Like when you're in the gym and you're lifting up like a heavy dumbbell and you do dumbbell bench with like like some heavy weight, and then you drop it to the ground, you lap it and you drop it to the ground, it shakes. The nuclear missiles are like that times like 100,000, like even like a ballistic missile, like, if you're around that, stuff is gonna shake, it rattles whatever building it hit, it shakes, shock waves and all that. I don't know the physics of it, but the kings of the earth and the great man, the rich man, the chief captains, the mighty man, every bondman, every free man, hid themselves in the dens, in the rocks and mountains. So all these kings, and this is going to talk about every nation that's not in America, right? So, Arabia, they're going to do this. China, Japan, North and South Korea, all the leaders, the generals, they're all going to hide out, and they're going to hide themselves in the rocks, the mountains. But as I mentioned before, I keep mentioning this, New Jerusalem coming down from heaven, coming down into that land, coming down to Israel. When we come down, we're gonna go get these other nations, get them out, the kings and leaders, and we're gonna drag them back to Israel and force them to build, our land back up. And they said to the mountains, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, from the wrath of the Lamb. So hide us from the Yahushai, for the day of the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Right? Certainly not your other nations, but the elect will be able to survive it, because they won't be there. They'll be in the chariots, and they'll dodge all that. So that was that. We're almost done here. Right. This year, Isaiah 2:19. They shall go into holes of the rocks, into the caves of the earth, for the fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty, when he rises to shake terribly the earth. Right? He's to shake that earth with them missiles and destruction from the chariots and all that. And in that day a man shall cast his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which he made each one for himself to worship, in the moles into the bats, right? So they're gonna say, the hell with this church, the hell with this, the Vatican, all those leaders. They say, the hell with this stuff, the hell with all these cathedrals and things like that. We're getting out of here, and they're gonna go run away, right? To go into the clefts of the rocks, to the tops of the ragged rocks, for the fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty, may rise to shake terribly the earth. Right? So that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna flee into those bunkers, and then they'll die. Cease ye from man, whose breath is in his nostrils, for wherein is he to be accounted of? Right? Don't put your trust in mere humans. They are as frail as a breath. What good are they? Yep, that's right. And there's another one that talks about that life is a breath. Life is a breath. It's like life is just, the human lives just, they're there and they're dead, and that's just the way it is. Like even with family members, they can just be there, and then next time you look at them, they're always dead, So don't put your trust in them, because you're not immortal. They're not all knowing. They're not supreme beings. They're just people. So that's pretty much it. I went into everything here. Isaiah 2, I went into the full chapter, broke down just about everything. Little one, you were edified, and that's pretty much the show.